As far as in the timing of this drone situation, is there any other countries that stand out that have had these drone incursions in recent weeks?
Yeah, definitely Japan and India I've heard from as well. But I think it's important to point out that it hasn't just been this year. If you go back to sort of the 2019 period, there were a lot of incursions around the world of these drones over nuclear facilities, not so much military nuclear facilities, but like power stations and stuff. And that was happening in countries like France and Sweden. And these were heavily reported in those countries, but for some reason, the news doesn't really spread outside of the smaller European countries. And so this is certainly not something new, these mysterious objects. And, we're using this term drones a lot because, a lot of them do seem to be familiar with the kind of the way drones work. But there are still a lot of things that have been reported in the last few weeks from both UK and US bases that there is some kind of advanced performance with some of these objects from some of the witnesses, that they don't move like conventional drones that we know of. And this is, again, just yet more that adds to the mystery of this situation.
As far as the New Jersey drones, we hear some of them, although they're not being publicly followed by citizens, they might be being followed by the military or police, which I guess is classified video because it could be considered criminal activity. But some of them are going off towards the ocean. Do you think they could be either going onto a boat in the ocean or going underwater as far as where they're coming from? Maybe a sub under the ocean or something, who knows?
Yeah, again, I think I'm open to all possibilities at the moment, having such limited information. It makes sense that if it's an adversarial fleet of drones, because we're talking in numbers up to 50 drones at a time that are seen coming from the direction of the ocean. Now, are they coming from under the ocean? I mean, that would change the game even more, because if you look at drone technology and the way it's going at the moment, there are transmedium capability drones, but they're very, again, rudimentary and very small. So if this is something that's coming from under the water and it's ours, that's a huge leap in technology. And I think that is a cause for concern for national security. Then, you go to the far end of things. If these are some kind of UAP, we know that UAP, especially recently, have been talked about coming from the oceans as well. And so it's very strange. And yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, I understand from hearing Lou Elizondo talk about it that one of the reasons they changed the name from UFO to UAP is because of the unidentified flying object word, because most of them, if not all of them, seem to have the ability to go underwater. So is that an indication to you that they may actually be coming from underwater in a lot of cases and maybe have a base down there?
Absolutely possible. I mean, it's been reported on for decades that these things have been seen around bodies of water, but there's been a lot of focus on that in the last sort of 5 to 10 years specifically. And you're right. Yeah, they initially changed the term UFO to UAP just because of the loaded stigma and taboo surrounding the UFO acronym. When people in Congress began talking about this, they were finding that they were just getting stonewalled and not getting anywhere because they're using the term UFO. So they switched it to UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. And then, like you said, it's been changed again recently to unidentified anomalous phenomena. That way you can take not just the aerial capabilities, but also transmedium, whether it's outside our atmosphere in space or under the water as well. But one thing that I always say to people is that UAP, the acronym, has been used since as far back as the early 1950s. It's not anything new. It was used here in the UK in the late 1990s from an official report that came from the Ministry of Defence called the Condign Report. And so a lot of people think it's new. It's definitely not. And a lot of people don't like the new phrase. They're like, it's always going to be UFOs. And I think that's okay. People are willing, that call it what you want to call it. It all kind of equates to the same meaning at the end of the day.
Yeah, and these days, if you call it drones, even though if technically they are UFOs, you don't get everyone accusing you of being crazy. So it's actually kind of interesting that if you call it a drone, people are willing to hear you out now.
Absolutely.